Hey all, you're probably wondering why I titled the video this way, and also why I'm not using my voice. Yes, this is AI, sue me. I'll get a bit into that later, but I wanted to introduce myself as a person who stutters, or PWS, which is a better known term in the speech, language, and hearing sciences community. A PWS is a person who does not want to be labeled by their speech. Instead of being called a stutterer, I do prefer to be called a person who stutters. I feel like labeling myself a stutterer only pushes the narrative of letting your situation define you. Why call yourself stupid then? Well, simple viewer, since you ask so nicely, this is for a few reasons that I'll accompany with examples so you can grasp better what I mean by stupid. My stutter makes it so I have to find alternate ways to communicate my ideas that are not typical, so they're often misunderstood anyways. I prefer to text and type my ideas, but when I do not have access to things to do that, I have to verbally express them and find workarounds for certain words and sounds I struggle with, often changing the meaning of the things I have to say or leaving complete ideas out entirely. To me, it makes sense, but to the other person, well, they obviously can't read my mind. So they're like, what? It makes me seem like I lack knowledge, am forgetful. Just to preface this one, I do not think that people who lack knowledge or forget things easily are stupid. This is just how I perceive myself. Anyways, for this one, I mainly think about the moments where I'm pretending to forget information so that I can type it out on my phone, pull my schedule up, think about how I want to say the thing I'm trying to say to make it less strenuous for me, just to give me time. It often seems like it either inconveniences people or just makes them like, haha, you forgot what class you had? All that just to answer the question, what class do you have today? I also often find myself asking rhetorical questions to the people I'm most comfortable speaking verbally pertaining to the topic I'm discussing to them. This is in order to help me better process the information I'm trying to say and construct the sentence in my head. For example, I'll be referring to somebody in a story I'm telling, and I'll say, what's her name? Before saying her name. I can often get stuck in these rhetorical loops while speaking, and it'll end up in me repeating the question and trying to sound more frustrated that I just cannot seem to remember this person's name, even though it is at the tip of my tongue. It's become a sort of filler these days. My favorite is, what's it called? Similar to like and These are not patterns I'm just wanting my friends and family to memorize and pick up on, because I know not everybody has the mental capacity to listen to somebody like me, even explain why I got a specific item from the grocery store. But I just feel like it's important to express that I do know about everything that happens in my speech, and that hearing it at least once from me can maybe help you make sense of why I do what I do in my speech. My stutter makes me seem apologetic for my existence, which does not really reflect who I am inside. I think there's a difference between being apologetic for literally existing and just apologizing for wasting somebody else's time. When I say sorry, my stutter is really bad today, it always is though, LOL. I just say that to express that I know this is awkward as fuck for you, and I might take a good chunk out of your day to express this idea that I'm trying to express. In reality, I am a tenacious person who will stick up for myself if I need to, and I've been somebody who gets shit done, except for when my college classes make me sleepy. Almost relying on my phone. This is a fun one because although I'm a bold person who has thoughts and feelings they'd like to express, but I don't have all the time in the world, so I figure that I need to make my communication as convenient for me and the other person as I can. How considerate, right? Well, consider the fact that some typical people aren't used to having to receive communication via a note on somebody's phone. I've gotten the following responses from some people that I will present here. 1. Was asking the cashier of the restaurant I applied to if I could have the manager who would be conducting my interview. Do you speak English? No hablo English? Pues hablo el español, güey. Pero no lo estoy hablándote ahora, ¿sí? 2. People thinking I'm completely deaf when picking up my prescriptions, exaggerated mouth, font, facial expressions, loud and slow speaking voices. Okay, 1. Second, holding up one finger. This one is just funny because I have a hearing aid, but one of my ears can hear perfectly fine too. I also explain at the beginning most of the time that I have a speech impediment. 3, somebody who isn't used to me stuttering or has never heard me stutter, hearing me speak for the first time. This one has too many examples that I don't feel like getting into because it's awkward and demeaning. How do I help myself? To answer the first question, I have many ways of helping myself, but these things that I love doing also make me actually question my existence for the reasons I would describe here. Language learning. I love learning languages. Although I'm in school for only 2 right now, Spanish, which is technically a native language for me, and then ASL. ASL has been a completely different experience for me regarding language that I can make a completely separate video about, but spoken language in context, whether it be English, Spanish, French, Russian, or anything spoken. I'd feel like a fraud for learning languages and being proficient in reading and writing, but having the stuttering make me sound less legit, even if, alone, my pronunciation is better than people think. I now realize that not all languages are spoken ones, and that those are the ones I feel I can truly excel in. One of my professors also recently told me something I'll never forget, and that is that no matter how you communicate, if you're still proficient in the language, you'll be understood, whether that'd be speaking or writing things down, which is what I prefer. Hobbies. I love to do things like sing, make music, solve Rubik's Cubes, play guitar, text people, study the history of the prehistoric ancient Mongolian Peninsula bird language at 3 a.m. on a Monday morning before the big exam. This being said, I have lots of hobbies that do not include speaking. These things give my voice a break because stuttering often makes my voice very fatigued and makes me not like to try more than I have to. I also love that singing does not use the same part of your brain that speech does. I have a wonderful relationship with music for that reason and am a huge music head. Spend quality time. Although my stutter impacts my life in painful ways, I still love to just sit with my girlfriend and watch the next episode of Law & Order SVU.
These are their stories.
People like her make me feel like less of a burden on her and the people around me. Hey girl, do you want to cure your stutter? Oh man, now presenting one of life's most difficult questions, my answer to this is, surprisingly, not really. For a long time, I've been somebody who has said, wish they made a surgery for stuttering. I would get that right away. And I still look back on myself and think, you know what, Sochi? I like the way you think, girl. I don't wish exactly that anymore. But I do wish that there was a way for PWS, or for people who have, quote-unquote, disordered speech to be able to stress about it less or feel pressured to have typical speech. I've had a lot of self-esteem issues due to my stutter, and it has even caused me some depression in my life, especially around the times I have important meetings, job interviews, and just the daily navigating of a college student. I forgot to mention that I do study speech, language, and hearing sciences, but I'll also make a video about that later too. Although my self-esteem issues have gotten the best of me at times, I still love myself. Not everything you love has to be perfect, folks. I'm definitely not the perfect girl.
Lois, everyone knows any female born after 1993 can't cook. All they know is McDonald's, charge their phone, twerk, be bisexual, eat hot chip, and lie.
But that's okay, because even though my speech falls under that category, honestly, nobody's speech is perfect. Now, I occasionally still find myself feeling less than perfect when I see a new meme video of Barack Obama throwing down on the NSA, National Stuttering Association, stuttering competition.
Obama. Soda!
To conclude this video, I just want to say I appreciate you. Yes, you, lovely viewer, for sticking to the end of this video. I know it might have been pretty lengthy, and that you all probably took the time in your busy schedules for me. I just want to say to any PWS or person with any kind of disability or anything that makes you atypical out there, that you really are not alone. It might just be that you have not met another PWS like you until you were a 19-year-old freshman in college. But you are not as alone as you think. They are lurking in the shadows.